Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Hash Knife Ranch. Brandon here with Calen, and we're going to see what we got in the chute today.
All right, so for this round of In the Chute, we've got how to avoid rodeos. And we're not talking about going out and getting drunk and seeing some pretty ladies and watching some great events. We're talking rodeos out in the field when you're trying to deal with cows or up in the mountains. How do you avoid those?
This is not a buckle bunny thing.
Nope.
Oh God. Yeah, how to avoid them, or why to avoid them.
I was gonna say, what's a rodeo? First of all, we call them rodeos. I don't know what
Or a
other
wreck.
people do. Or a wreck.
Call them a wreck. Just like you would in your car. I mean, more speed, more dents, more problems. God, yeah. There's all kinds of wrecks. If we're talking just specifically with horses and versus moving some cows and having a wreck, that's a totally different thing. But I think for this, I think you're probably getting at how to avoid getting hurt on a horse, and that's just having. You know what? The biggest deal is situational awareness. I think just what is going on, not just with you and your horse, which you should be feeling all the time, and just having awareness amongst with yourself and how you're influencing that horse, but the horse's attitude. The weather, what's going on and then some of these external things like birds flying up underneath your feet, coyotes running in front of you. Yeah, snakes.
I've knocked over a rattlesnake a time or two. Not fun.
Well, yeah, and I was training a horse last summer that I was running into all kinds of snakes. Of course, it's at a time when I can't really do anything about it because I'm on her back and I don't have a rope with me where I can beat a snake to death.
Yeah.
But I am just like stuck. Okay, I can get off and I can try to find a rock, but what good is that? And the first couple of times she heard a buzz, is like, she reacted to it, but then it just got worse. And like, she could hear these things. It was like almost having a rodeo every time or a wreck every time you have a snake, moment with her. And it was like, wow, I've never had a horse quite react like this all the time. And I saw lots of snakes last year. This year I really didn't for some reason, but it was like a snake year last year. So yeah, that's an issue.
Well, and I think that while that can be a beneficial training tool,
it is.
It's also a blessing is a curse is a blessing, right? It's one of those things where it's just like, man, like I can't get a break. It's helping train the horse, but at the same time, it's also probably not helping when it keeps happening too. And it can result in like what we're talking about, the rodeos, where okay, what happens if one day, like you're talking about the weather? I didn't think about that for this particular episode, but that's a very good point. Of you might have a thunder, especially in the summertime in Montana in June, early July. It's been hot, and then suddenly you've got this front where it's just going to drop temperature. And if you don't know what we're talking about, I'm talking you're going to drop 20 to 30 degrees in the matter of about an hour and a half. You're like, that doesn't happen. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
And what happens is you will see a giant wave, literally a front. You will see it, and it's just a giant cloud of blackness coming over, and they feel that. And you feel it because you're feeling the temperatures rapidly drop. Like I said, 10 to 20 degrees, you're going to feel it, especially on a hot day. And then the wind comes with it, and they just start getting ready, like antsy, not only because they're starting to feel good, they can go out and have fun, but also there's something coming. I got to get ready. And that just, it leads into it. But I think another thing too, that's for training and trying to like, we've talked about keeping energy low, being relaxed, making sure things are good. But then I think something we've had before, I guess we've never really experienced a rodeo per se in the mountains, but I've seen where the potential could go downhill, and having a young horse in a string of pack horses in the mountains can probably be one of the worst things you could have if they decide to just freak out, because I mean, you got steep mountains, they can roll down, they can kill themselves, they can kill others if they're tied up with each other. They can, lose a bunch of stuff, like as in packs and gear and stuff, and break it. I remember watching, I was pretty young, a horse, it wasn't even really that inexperienced, and it wasn't a rodeo, just something happened and it slipped and it was belly up, at the bottom of a hill, and you had to cut everything off of it, fix it all back up, and then.
Well, yeah, I remember that. It really wasn't. I didn't have to cut anything. It was just undo everything.
Okay.
And that was on a switchback, and the horse behind that horse, they were tied together. They were pack horses, and the one tried to go around the other one, and the lead rope come from the back of the saddle around, and he was in a hurry, and around the hind end of that other horse, and just took his legs out and pushed him over. He rolls over on the upside down, and he's struggling for a while. I just, talked to him, said, easy, easy. And he was paddling, but then kind of laid down, got off, got my hand. I think you held the horse. I got down, put my hands on him, talked to him, said, easy, you're all right. And he just kind of laid there, and it was a young, yeah. Well, he kind of was doing the turtle. What else is he going to do except they'll panic and they'll
right.
kick and
well, it's an unnatural position.
Right. Oh yeah, totally. A horse can, you can twist a gut, cause big problems on a horse when they roll over like that or stay anytime on their back, it can kill them. But when I just undid everything from the bottom side and got the packs kind of pulled away from him, and then I think it kind of was able to get a log and kind of pull everything away because he went down between two logs that were pieces of deadfall and got one away and was able to get him up on his feet, and then stood there and I was like, oh crap, now I got to pull this stuff up and repack him, resaddle and repack, and probably took another 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do everything, but it's like, yeah, that's a little wreck, that's a little rodeo. I can remember one though when we went up into the Beartooth Wilderness, your dad or your grandpa and you and I and your brother, and we were going up the trail, and all of a sudden you were in the very back, as I recall. I can't remember.
I know what you're talking about. I don't like this one.
Well, this is when all of a sudden I heard just a big crash behind it. And I turned around, and you and the horse had just you're on flats, and you just leapt forward. A standing dead tree had literally come down right behind you on the trail.
Yeah, about 10,
I've never had that happen before.
Yeah, that was sketchy because I've thought about, there's things in your life that, and I realize I'm only like 26, but there's been times, one sliding down the mountain with 6 horses in the back. This was one of them. A couple of my car wrecks. Those things. You get older, you start thinking, man, I was lucky. Like maybe there's a purpose or something. But that was one of them that I don't get. I really don't, because a fire had clearly gone through. There was standing, like you said, standing dead trees. Everything looked fine though. It was just there was wind, probably 10, 15 mile an hour wind, and it was going through.
It wasn't horrible though.
Yeah, and you could hear the wood creaking. It was just
but that's normal, right?
Yeah, but it's that eerie fire, wildfire survival or survive. I guess those who have survived the standing dead, they're just there, they're toothpicks, but we've never really seen anything fall over. And suddenly, like you said, we heard a crack, and my horse, he doesn't really get scared much because he's very well trained. He just took off. We got in front of the line faster than I think I've ever known him to get in front of the line. And we stopped. I got him shut down. I'm like, hey, it's okay. And he was just breathing hard and trying to figure out what happened. I turned around and we see this deadfall right there. So, doing the responsible thing that we did, we got off our horses and we sawed it and got rid of it and pushed it to the side. Because the next person coming up is going to deal with it. And then of course us going back, we'll have to deal with it. So we just took care of it then and there. But yeah, that was creepy. Just unlucky. Again, when you're not there and a tree falls over, does it still make a sound? Yes, it does. Because had we not been there,
I think it does. It made a big sound. And you see trees laying across the trail all the time.
Yeah.
And okay, there's some more deadfall, but not like I've actually been there when it happened. That was the only time I've really seen that happen that close.
Well, and it happened so
you'll
fast.
Hear stuff.
Right, but it happened so fast that even him, as a prey animal with fast reflexes, there's no way he would have beat that. I don't.
No.
At least not for me. He might have, as the animal. I would have gotten at least hit in the head or the neck, and it probably would have killed me. That
Yeah, and that is significant force. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's that a tree is, you know, so the big lodgepole pine, and it was probably only about, I mean, it was a good size one, probably about an 8-inch tree,
Yeah.
but it was still, that is a lot of tree coming down at one time.
And I think that kind of goes into what the prompt is for this question is, uh, how do you avoid rodeos? Well, for that example, train the horse for as much as you possibly can. Get them involved with a bunch of stuff. If you don't think they're ever going to see cows, get them involved with cows, because you may never know if you just run across a stray herd of bulls that somebody has in a pasture that they're putting out there for the spring or something.
Right.
They need to be familiar with that stuff. For my horse, there's no way to prepare him for that. But what was good is he's been trained respond to a good, strong, whoa, verbal cue, physical cue in the saddle, and then obviously also the physical cue of the bit. But then also it's energy and knowing how to shut him down. At a certain point, I couldn't stop him because he's
Right.
so much bigger than I am. So I grabbed one rein and I pulled him to the side. And the point is not to increase the level of tension, but to decrease it. And that was shut him down. And the way to shut him down, turn him in a circle, get him to stop. Once he stopped, we're good. And I think that goes with a lot of things, the sacking, all that, exposing the animal to as many things as possible, and just getting them to understand you as the rider and being able to have that relationship with them.
Well, and that's the one thing. I'm glad you brought that up because as a trainer, when I'm riding these horses anywhere, they'll see a shiny rock, a
Yeah.
white rock, or
A
something
bull
that doesn't
bunny.
quite look right, and they'll shy from it. And you'd be surprised how much garbage is out there that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
look right. Charcoaled up, burned out trees. I mean, that's going to eat them. But all of those items are something that I never ever avoid.
Right.
If I see them look at it kind of sideways or start to get some attention towards it, I don't just ride away from it to keep myself safe. I slowly take them to it, make them go to it, figure out that, hey, this isn't going to hurt me. Usually once they smell it, they're like, oh, okay. And what that does is that builds trust with you that you're not going to hurt them, and you never abuse them, never put them in a situation where they're going to get scared without resolving that. And that is what builds that relationship with you and them, so that you can avoid the rodeos, you can avoid the wrecks just because of what you've done with them by exposure and desensitization.
Yeah, and I think what's easier to say is it helps mitigate it, right? You're not going to always stop everything, but it helps
Right.
provide that knowledge base. It's like if you're a reader, the more you read, the more you're going to know, the more you're going to be exposed to, and you can have
Right.
a decent conversation with any person. It's the same thing for them. Any environment, you expose them to as many environments or any circumstances you can, it's going to make them a better horse and make you a better rider too.
Well, and it does help them to uh, mentally work through that. Oh, you know what? This isn't maybe going to kill me. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but it isn't going to kill me. So yeah, it just makes them a little bit more rounded horse and more well trained.
All right. So I think with that, we'll put this out to pasture.
Perfect.